The mustache controversy did not end with online debates and trending hashtags. In fact, it opened up larger conversations about the relationship between artists and their audience, particularly in the context of the K-pop industry, where the bond between idol and fan is unlike anything else in the global music scene. For decades, the K-pop system has cultivated not only polished performers but also idealized personas, images of perfection that fans can hold on to, fantasize about, and sometimes, unfortunately, try to control. Taehyung's simple act of growing facial hair and sharing it online became a symbolic challenge to that system. It revealed how fragile the balance is between individuality and the idol image. Fans expect idols to represent a certain beauty standard, yet they also claim to want authenticity and self-expression. When faced with Taehyung's authentic choice, however, the backlash suggested that many fans are still more comfortable with the polished version of him they have grown accustomed to. This contradiction reflects a deeper psychological dynamic within fandom culture. Fans often feel a sense of ownership over idols, believing that their years of emotional and financial investment give them the right to express strong opinions about how the idol should behave, dress, or look. This parasocial relationship, where fans feel intimately connected to someone who does not know them personally, can be both beautiful and destructive. On the one hand, it creates loyalty and community. On the other hand, it can lead to entitlement and invasive behavior. In Taehyung's case, the backlash over something as personal as facial hair demonstrated just how much power fans wield, whether intentionally or not. A few negative comments were enough to make him delete his post, which in turn triggered regret and guilt among his wider fanbase. It was a reminder that idols are reading these comments, absorbing the energy, and reacting emotionally. Even the strongest personalities can feel vulnerable when confronted with waves of criticism from people whose approval they value. What made the situation even more poignant was the timing. BTS is currently in a transitional period, with several members serving in the military and others exploring solo projects. For Taehyung, who has often been described as the most enigmatic member, this solo era provides a rare chance to show different sides of himself. The mustache, whether temporary or experimental, could have been a statement about his evolving identity as an artist and a man. Instead, it became a flashpoint for tension between creative freedom and fan expectations. Critics of the backlash argue that this is precisely the kind of moment that highlights the need for fans to step back. Idols are adults with their own preferences, and something as minor as facial hair should never cause global uproar. Supporters of Taehyung emphasize that true loyalty means embracing every version of him, whether clean-shaven, mustached, or anything else he chooses. They point out that ARMY has often been praised as one of the most supportive fandoms in the world, and that the incident should serve as a wake-up call to live up to that reputation. Meanwhile, scholars and cultural commentators have begun dissecting the broader implications of the incident. Some see it as a reflection of South Korea's rigid beauty culture, which has long prized youthful, flawless appearances. Facial hair is often associated with age, ruggedness, or nonconformity, traits that clash with the idealized image of the idol as eternally young and approachable. Others view it as part of a global shift, where K-pop idols are starting to push back against these constraints and demand recognition as complete individuals rather than flawless entertainers. Taehyung's artistic personality makes this tension even more pronounced. Unlike some idols who carefully maintain a safe and predictable public image, Taehyung has always been unpredictable, whether through his experimental fashion, his love of old jazz music, or his quirky and poetic social media posts. Fans admire him for being different, but that admiration comes with a paradox. They celebrate his uniqueness only as long as it fits within their comfort zone. The mustache was, in many ways, a test of whether fans could truly accept his individuality without conditions. The incident also sparked conversations about the emotional labor expected of idols. Beyond performing and producing music, idols are constantly required to maintain relationships with fans, offering affection, gratitude, and reassurance. In return, fans expect to feel seen and heard. But when the relationship becomes imbalanced, when fans' expectations begin to override the artist's autonomy, the consequences can be damaging. Taehyung's pointed remark, "I thought you said you would respect my wishes," revealed that imbalance with startling clarity. Internationally, the discourse broadened into discussions about mental health. Mental health struggles among K-pop idols have been widely documented, with some tragic outcomes. Critics argue that incidents like Taehyung's show why it is urgent to allow idols more space to live as human beings, not just as consumable products. The mustache photo, though seemingly trivial, became a symbol of this larger struggle, the fight for idols to claim their right to self-expression without fear of backlash from the very people who claim to love them most. Even now, weeks after the deletion, the conversation has not died down. Fans continue to debate, media outlets continue to publish think pieces, and Taehyung himself has moved on, but the memory lingers. For ARMY, it is a scar and a lesson: to support without conditions, to love without controlling, and to remember that behind every stage performance or Instagram photo is a real person who deserves dignity. For Taehyung, it may serve as both a painful reminder and a strengthening moment, reinforcing his determination to remain authentic, even in the face of criticism. In the hours following the post and its deletion, screenshots of Taehyung's mustache photo spread rapidly across social media. On Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, fans debated the meaning behind the photo. Some believed it was simply Taehyung experimenting with his appearance, while others speculated that it was tied to an upcoming project, perhaps a concept for music or fashion. There were even theories suggesting it might have been a teaser for a photo shoot. The speculation only fueled more discussion, and within a few hours the topic had turned into a viral storm. Comments varied drastically in tone. Supportive messages like, "You look amazing no matter what," and "This is a new side of you and we love it," clashed with harsher words like, "It looks bad," or "Please shave it off." The sheer volume of criticism, even if it came from a minority of fans, created an atmosphere where Taehyung felt compelled to remove the photo altogether. His sensitivity to fan reactions was not surprising. After all, BTS has built its empire on the foundation of close communication with ARMY, valuing their opinions and feedback. But this time, the closeness backfired, revealing the dangerous side of such intimacy. Cultural critics in South Korea began weighing in on the incident almost immediately. One columnist in a Seoul-based newspaper wrote, "This is not about a mustache. It is about the illusion of control fans believe they have over idols. When idols conform to fans' desires, they are rewarded with love. When they deviate, they are punished. This cycle is unsustainable for the mental health of artists." Another analyst noted that facial hair has historically carried different connotations in Korean society. For decades, clean-shaven faces were associated with professionalism, youth, and beauty, while mustaches or beards were often linked with ruggedness, rebellion, or even laziness. By wearing a mustache, Taehyung unconsciously challenged not only fan expectations but also cultural norms. International experts echoed these sentiments. In Western media, where male celebrities frequently experiment with facial hair, the backlash seemed extreme. One American journalist wrote, "Imagine criticizing an Oscar-winning actor for growing a mustache between roles. It would be laughable." Yet in K-pop, the pressure to maintain an eternal image of youth makes even the smallest change controversial. This cultural comparison highlighted how the K-pop system places unique burdens on idols, who must constantly perform a version of themselves that aligns with public expectations. The situation reminded many fans of past controversies involving other idols. For example, when members of different groups dyed their hair unusual colors, gained weight, or wore unconventional outfits, they often faced criticism. In some cases, idols were even forced to apologize for appearances that strayed from the norm. These repeated patterns reveal a systemic issue. Idols are celebrated for their individuality, but only within boundaries carefully set by fan culture and industry standards. Once they step outside those boundaries, backlash quickly follows. What made Taehyung's case different, however, was his willingness to speak up. His response on Weverse, "I thought you said you would respect my wishes," was not the kind of